Hi, my name is Randall Ryti, and I'm one of the county councilors, and I'm here at the Los Alamos Daily Post to report on the June 27th, 2023 County Council regular session. We started out with a couple proclamations. One was for Dr. Nichols, who recognizing his 40 years of service to the community, and he's recently retired. Another one was the Parks Month, which is going to be in July. And that was accepted by our park superintendent, Wendy Parker, and recreation manager, Catherine Hudspeth. We had a few items under consent agenda. There was some contracts for the Department of Public Works and Department of Public Utilities. We also had appointments to the Arts and Public Places Board, the Parks and Recreation Board, and the Valuation Protest Board. The main items on the agenda last night were public hearings. So the first public hearing had to do with the potential sale of land on 20th Street to Pet Pangea. Pet Pangea's had an interest for about 2.5 years in some lots on Trinity near 36th Street. And so basically the idea is that they would relinquish that interest in favor of a lot there at the corner of 20th and Trinity. And so the proposal included a rough site plan, and there was also a schedule with various milestones identified. And so we had a fairly lengthy discussion about this item, and some of the issues that were raised were, maybe some of the periods for due diligence, etc., could delay the project quite a bit. But we did hear from Cindy Wells during the meeting that her intention was to work as quickly as possible with staff in order to get the project completed. And so I think that was one of the factors that led council to approving that unanimously. And I guess another thing just to mention there was that there is also a public outreach process for the 20th Street area in general, and that's going on in parallel, but there was understanding when the public meeting started that this lot may be sold to a private, to a local owner. The other longer discussion we had was about the New Mexico gross receipts tax increase, the 0.5% increase that had been proposed during the budget hearings. And there were two ordinances that were mutually exclusive. So one would have the tax starting on January 1st of 2024, and the other one would have it starting on July 1st of 2024. And part of the reason for there is a process that you have to go through with the state to get it accepted, so it logistically would not be possible to have it, for example, starting this week on Saturday. So there were obviously a lot of different pros and cons to this. So one of the main points that the county manager raised was that in his experience in the past that the county had been slow in raising rates, and that then rates had to be increased to a larger percentage later to make up for differences. And the other thing was that this is, of course, something that's the projected shortfall that's coming up in a couple fiscal years. So that was some of the weighting, the main factors weighting whether or not to go ahead with the ordinance or not. And the other information we did get was that waiting until July 1st, so basically at the start of the next fiscal year 25, we could cover that shortfall through the reserves. So the projected $6.5 million shortfall could be covered with the reserves. And so that was actually the ordinance that we did debate whether or not to go ahead with it. And ultimately, the vote failed. It was very close because, of course, as I mentioned, there are some good arguments in favor as well as for waiting. And so at this point, there is no GRT increase on the books, and we'll have to deal with, at a minimum, at the budget hearings for FY25, if not at a sooner point. And I expect that we'll be getting regular updates from the county manager on our financial position to know whether or not there's some action the council would have to take. Another matter was that every year council approves the board and commission work plans, and so we had 10 work plans in the package last night to approve, and we all provided our thanks to the committee that reviewed them, plus all the volunteers, the chairs of all the boards and all the members for all their hard work. And there's quite a list of activities that are expected for next year on all the boards and commissions. And then just some items. Oh, I guess the other item I need to highlight is that we did have salary adjustments for our contract employees. So that's the county manager, the county attorney, and utility manager of 5.5%, and that's effective starting on July 1st. And the other thing I just wanted to highlight is that the package also includes the tickler, which is the upcoming items, and so it's the 3 meetings in July. And I think that there's a number of items there that the public might be interested in. July 11th, we're going to have an update on the North Mesa housing project, which is the school land on North Mesa. There's going to be an ordinance introduced to raise Councilor salary to the state maximum, and there are several resolutions to support funding requests for road projects. July 18th, we're going to get an update on the county website. So this has been long in the works, and I personally looking forward to hearing that presentation. We're going to get an update on how the Trinity Road Diet is performing, and there's going to be a presentation by Kelly Beierschmidt on planning that Triad is doing. And then at the end of the month, July 25th, we're going to have a potential authorization for the county manager to finalize negotiations for the 10-year fire cooperative agreement. And so that's all I wanted to highlight, and thank you for the opportunity, and take care, everyone.